What's up, everybody, and welcome to the SP and Bushy Show. Two lifelong friends who start a podcast together. I'm SP. With me, as always, is my buddy Bushy. Bushy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I mean, I guess I'm just more decided in life right now than I guess with Tom Brady's football career. So, we'll have to see with that.
I mean, if he retires, I'd feel pretty good. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's happening. I think that a couple of the sources jumped the gun. Like, at the end of the day, if Tom Brady retires, this isn't going to be like some thing that's just going to break suddenly. Like, there's going to be a big announcement. There's going to be a big press conference. There's not going to be like Adam Schefter just breaking it. It's going to be a big deal press conference. Tom's going to announce it himself. Like, it's not going to be something like that.
Right? Yeah. Well, that too, and it's like there's like a deleted tweet from the TB12 from the Tom Brady Twitter account. Or like from the TB12, whatever his company is, or something like that. There's basically a lot of speculation going on right now about his kind of career status right now. I mean, it's just crazy to think about it. I mean, his team was still. If his defense didn't play Raheem Moore right now, we'd probably be talking about Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, the Rams let him back in the game, pull the Falcons special, and almost gave that game away. And the Rams also did beat them in the first meeting, too. So, I mean, I think the Rams this season were better than the Buccaneers were, especially because the Buccaneers had to deal with a lot of injuries and the Antonio Brown nightmare and all those other things. But it definitely felt like Tom Brady still had plenty more in him, just based on what he was doing all season long. And the fact of the matter is, he's like Freddy Krueger. He's going to be sticking around to haunt my dreams for as long as he can. And then just when you think he's gone, he's gonna come back. He's got that one final jump scare. So this is that part where you think he's finally gone, and then bam, he's gonna be back in pads next season, slinging it around and leading the
right. Yeah, it's kind of like the rolling credits. You have the credits going. You have all the people that worked that movie, and then you have that ending credit. Yeah, yep. Tom Brady's hands coming out of the ground. It's like, oh, I'm back. Let's go.
Yeah,
it's just like a whisper of like the "Let's go."
Yeah, you have a football deflating into the screen at the end.
Yes, that works. Yeah, he's gonna haunted the Atlanta Falcons even more.
Oh, definitely, he certainly will be.
I mean, it's just crazy to think about it. I mean, I thought it may probably be like maybe another 2 years or something like that. We may really start seeing the decline, but he actually was still throwing the ball pretty darn good. And it's just weird to kind of speculate now that it's just like, holy crap, he's actually going to retire. Like
I said, I don't believe it until I see it, until I hear it from the horse's mouth, not Adam Schefter's mouth.
I mean, it's It's
no offense,
kind of speculate, but it's just like this guy's been playing since we were in middle school. Like that's how long he's been in the NFL. We're two fully grown adults now. Having full jobs, houses. Obviously you get married. It's just like we've lived like full-fledged lives, and Tom Brady is still in the NFL. That's just crazy to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he is definitely not going anywhere. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And sometimes I think, especially with like sports journalism and journalism in general, there's always that emphasis on being the first one, and sometimes that trumps being right sometimes. And unfortunately, I think this is one of those situations.
Well, yeah, and it's just one of those type of things as well. I mean, there could be speculation too that if he does. If it does happen, maybe he pull a Brett Favre or something like that, where he kind of retires now, but then like as training camp starts, does he go, my body feels good. I'm going to, does he pull a Brett Favre?
Oh, he's definitely going to pull a Brett Favre and then somehow show up at New England Patriots camp. And he's going to retire now and show up at New England Patriots camp next fall. He's going to show up and somehow Gronk's going to retire too and do the same trick. I mean, I'm telling you, it is not over yet, and it's not ending like this with an Adam Schefter tweet.
So that's your bold prediction, you know.
Oh
That's
yeah.
great.
I don't
Brady
think
and
it's
Gronk are going to be
bold, like
back
I
in the
said.
No, but Brady and Gronk are going to be back with New England next year.
Probably, yeah. He's gonna mentor Mac Jones in the ways of cheating, and make sure that he knows how to do it for the next 20 years.
Here's how you do this PSI. Okay, you know, you make it probably 0.3 of a decimal worse. Then you get a better grip and you can throw the ball a little better, especially in these cold weather.
Exactly.
If all else fails, you smash your phone. You smash your phone. You get a new one.
Yeah, exactly. You smash your phone. You have your defense take out Josh Allen's kneecaps. Refs don't call it. It's fine.
And then
I'm
you'll
with you.
have a photographer photography the sideline, but then claim it's just I just happened to misplace this camera.
Exactly.
And have the commissioner burn the footage. Get the
Exactly.
commissioner on it.
Like I said, I don't believe this is over anytime soon. Like I said, I think it's a little premature reporting. Brady's camp has already denied it. I mean, I don't foresee any situation where this is the end with an Adam Schefter tweet. I want to hear it from Tom Brady before I believe it.
I mean, it would just be like more spectacle or something like that. I mean, it's
Oh
just
yeah, he's gonna pull a LeBron, which is, you start with one franchise, you take your talents to Florida, and then you go back to that franchise to win them that last.
Go back to New England for that one more shot with him and Bill.
Yep. Exactly.
We retire on top, Bill.
Yep, exactly.
Well, trade Mac Jones too. Yeah, we don't want Mac Jones.
Oh no, like I said, Brady's gonna train him.
Oh, again, yeah, it's just all speculation right now. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you and I probably woke up this morning. We didn't think we'd be talking about probably a Tom Brady retirement saga segment here.
I know, and I'm sure it's gonna be something we're gonna keep talking about. So we'll have to bookmark that story, come back to it once there's more info. I'm sure there's gonna be some more info next week. Let's stick with football though. Obviously, championship weekend. Both of us lost our Super Bowl picks last week. And so, I mean, we both had both of our Super Bowl picks go out. Me with the Buccaneers and the Titans, you with the Bills and the Packers. So I guess that leaves us, we still got teams that advanced to like the final 8. That's not that bad.
No, I mean, I feel like we picked really we picked the playoff teams pretty good. You know, I mean, obviously there's some misses. We thought the Washington football team would be pretty good. And then we thought the Denver Broncos would have like a playoff spot. But like really like more times than not, we thought, okay, these teams are going to be in the playoffs. So like, I feel like we got at least like probably like 6 of the 7 teams. Of course, we didn't really suspect really the Cincinnati and Las Vegas being good as well. So
right. Yeah.
Right, but yeah, I mean, it's
a sleeper team, but I mean, let's make those predictions now. Who do you think of these final 4 teams is going to be in the Super Bowl?
I mean, I think I mean, does it feel like a destiny right now? Are we going to have another rematch of the Super Bowl a couple of years ago now with the Chiefs and the 49ers?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's going to be Chiefs Rams. I think the Rams are too talented. I think that they're going to get it done against the 49ers this weekend. And
I mean, if they get by it too, yeah, then they'll be definitely very happy. I mean, getting that championship and getting over that 49ers hump that they just can't seem to overcome for some reason. I mean, what ridiculous rule is somehow gonna help the Rams this time? You know, it's just. You know, it's just you have the helmet to helmet that really, if the ball is somehow still in play, the Buccaneers get a first down or something like that. Obviously, with an egregious pass interference that they had 3 years ago. So, I mean, I feel like there's going to be a terrible call.
Mean,
that's going to help the Rams.
I think the Buccaneers got plenty of breaks on their own, right? I don't think that one little thing is what cost them going to the Super Bowl. I think that's silly to pretend that. I think that the Rams were the better team. They were ahead the whole time. Like, I think that the Rams would have advanced either way.
Yeah, but they do. It is a little bit cause for concern because really, I mean, they have looked like all world really in like the first half of these games, and then and we've seen it, come to the second half when they're really trying to put the game away. They can't really try to put the game away for some reason, which is really kind of crazy. I guess Matthew Stafford is so used to being behind to try to come back that he's like he just doesn't know how to handle a lead. I guess from
Yeah, I
all
think
those
that's
years
part
being
of
with
it. But I
Detroit.
mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I think Stafford's still better than Garoppolo. I think that the Rams just are more talented all the way across the board to beat the Niners. And I think they're overdue to do so. I think that the Niners, I mean, they kind of, I feel like almost a little bit overachieved. They have the talent, but I still think that they are a little bit overachieving right now. And I mean, it took like we said last time, the Rams had to have one of those collapses in the second half just to let the 49ers back in their last game against them. So I
Right,
think,
yeah.
like I said, I think the Rams are the better team, and I think they get over the hump this week against them.
Yeah, I mean, you can only go so far with like luck. I mean, it's just and you kind of lucked out route too. Really, the with kind of the Packers really kind of I don't know why really kind of took their foot off the pedal after that first drive. I mean, it was like bang bang boom 7-0. It looked like it was going to be a rout, but yeah, and it just seeing that happen. And yeah, then having the pump block as well too. So I was not shocked by that punt block because it really I have several Packers fans and they have told me a lot of the time that the special teams really stinks and they hope they didn't come back to bite them in the butt when it came to the they didn't come back to bite them in the butt come playoff time. And sure enough, that's what happened. It really came back and bite them in the butt come playoff time.
It definitely did. And I mean, you got to ask yourself, obviously, Nathaniel Hackett coming to the Broncos, are we inheriting some of those kinds of problems that the Green Bay had?
I mean, I hope not, I mean, it's just, I hope he really kind of helps coach up. Maybe he kind of learns from the mistakes from Matt LaFleur, really, to help with the help with the special teams as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just really, I mean, you can't look but up really for the Broncos special teams, especially the past 3-4 years, because they've just been awful the past.
They've been dreadful. That's for sure. So
yes,
obviously, yeah. Obviously, though, we got the other game, the Bengals against the Chiefs, which I think is going to be fantastic. I have the over/under set at 75. I don't know what Vegas has it at, but I mean, I think that's going to be a points fest right there.
I worry. I feel like I have a feeling this feels like the Titans of 2 years ago with this Bengals team, where it's just like really they kind of had like this, kind of this run at the end, and then thankfully they did win the division. They kind of lucked out, and I feel like this feels like sort of Titans-ish, really for them as well, where they've kind of really kind of been nice little battle tested or something like that, but then eventually they'll probably lose. Probably at least somewhat handily to the Chiefs. I mean, I think it will be like a close game, but I think the Chiefs will pull it away at the end.
I said I think it'll come down to whoever has the ball last, and I'm betting that Patrick Mahomes and company will have the ball last with the win.
I mean, really, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, how many times have teams taken like a timeout to get like the defense set, and somehow the defense looks like complete, looks like an utter collapse, like they forgot how to play defense. I feel like time and time again, this has happened for years.
Well, I also don't get this logic of trying to prevent defense ever again. Like for the last, 20 years or last 5 years, the prevent defense hasn't prevented anything. Like in the last few minutes, it seems like any team that's ran a 2-minute drill, except for the Broncos, but like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Patriots, the Buccaneers, any of these teams that have needed points at the end of the games, they find a way to get points. Look at that. Chiefs, 13 seconds. And somehow still people aren't hiring Eric Bieniemy, which makes no sense to me. But I digress, because that's who I wanted as the new Broncos head coach. But once again, you can't ever take your foot off the gas until the clock hits 0. And you definitely can't let Travis Kelce catch a football ever. Like, how you don't have him double-teamed in that situation is amazing to me.
I mean, really, you should have just ran with like a 2 lineman thing where you can have like, you don't have to have like 2-3 down linemen. You can always have, you can have 8-9 defensive backs. Like
Well,
you could just put an entire defensive backs right now, just double team Kelsey, double team Hill.
You don't even need that because Kelsey's on the line to begin with. You line up a linebacker on him, and then you have a guy deep or a guy that's also assigned to Kelsey. You have 2 guys on Kelsey. You have 2 guys on Tyreek Hill. You have 3 guys rushing, and then you just worry about everyone else.
Yeah, and then you hold Byron Pringle, and you just hug him. Yeah. You don't let him go. You just hug him.
You don't have to worry about Myron Pringle. Myron Pringle would drop it in clutch time. I don't think he's catching it. You double team Hill, you double team Kelsey, and then you let if one of those other guys beats you, then that's my problem.
And that was the worst part too. They were wide open too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a case where it's where Kelsey makes an amazing catch. Like Kelsey was wide open both of those times. Like that was the weird part. I'm like, oh, maybe we should double team this guy.
Wide open.
Oh man, it's just Leslie Frazier's, Vikings-ish, coming back to bite him in the butt,
Yeah.
Him being the former coach, so it's just he just brings that Viking spirit along.
It was a hell of a game, and obviously it was prime example of why the overtime rules need to change.
It does. Come on. It seriously, I know they don't like college. Just just do the college rules, put it on the 40 or the 45, and then you have to go and score.
Both teams start at their own 25, but both teams should touch the ball.
Yeah. You start at that, or you start at the 35, and then after the second or third overtime, then you have to go for it at 4th down all the time. No field goals. You get rid of field goals after the second or third overtime. Go back to my rule.
Yeah, or like I said, you do basically an extra quarter.
Or that, you do an extra quarter. Yeah, or you take from soccer.
Yeah,
that's what soccer does.
Yeah, you do an extra quarter, or that's what the NHL does in the playoffs too.
Right,
you get another period until someone scores.
Right,
until the tie is broken. So that's what it needs to be. Both teams need to touch the ball.
Yeah, but soccer, they go through the 2 extra times as well. They don't do the overtime. Yeah, they don't do the sudden death overtime, which I think soccer should do that. But what do I know?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think everyone. No one cares because it's not a big deal for us. We don't have the listeners. But hearing Bob Costas rant about it on the Rich Eisen show this week, hopefully Bob's got enough connections that he can make it happen.
And you know what the funny part is too is that the Chiefs were the one that proposed it after when they lost against the Patriots, and everybody just shot it down, calling them sore losers, or something like that. Well, now they're the opposite, and they still were like, and after the game, everybody was just like, yeah, I feel like the Bills should have had at least,
Well, yeah. Tell me who didn't want to watch more of that?
No, seriously. I guess people. I guess for the people who wants to watch.
Oh yeah, let me just watch. Let it end on whoever wins this coin toss.
I guess really the only it's for the people, the really big 60-minute fans. Those are really the only people I think that wanted the game to end, so then they can enjoy 60 minutes, except for on the West Coast.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, I can't wait to hear what Andy Rooney's talking about tonight. Bring him out.
Bring him out. He's got to talk about something going on in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, the key question that came up this week on Jeopardy too. Did you see that?
I don't watch Jeopardy. I'm sorry.
Well, it basically was the question that stumped the 40-day champion. Was Bangladesh?
Bangladesh, man. Come on. Yeah. Bangladesh is having a comeback week, baby.
It is.
It's on Jeopardy, and now it's on our show.
Absolutely. Bangladesh.
I don't like watching it because it just really makes me feel just how dumb I am sometimes. But when it comes to pop culture stuff and sports and pop culture stuff, boom, 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 I'm good on that. But yeah, when it comes to everything else, I'm going I don't know.
Well,
except for the $100 and $200 questions, I'm oh, I know that. But then you get to the $300 to $500 ones, I'm I don't know.
Well, I can do decently, but I don't like opera or ballet or some of these other things that come up sometimes on it.
Well, I always love it too because whenever they do have the sports stuff, and clearly most of the contestants don't really know a lot about sports, so yeah, they they don't know about that. So it's always one of my favorites. I'm going to be like, you're the morons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna call me a moron.
Right
I'm gonna call you a moron for not knowing that, for not knowing who Aaron Rodgers plays for.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Denver Broncos.
Hopefully, yeah. Anyway,
Hopefully.
as someone who hosts bar trivia, I can assure you there are definitely a lot of people out there that don't have a lot of sports knowledge. Like every time I try to have a sports category, it freaks some people out for sure.
Can I just come one time during the bar trivia and just call everybody a moron that got the question wrong? You're a moron.
Nah.
I'm your designated moron person.
Yeah.
You're a moron.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not know who won the Stanley Cup in 1993? Come on. How do you not know that?
How do you not know who won the 1992 Royal Rumble?
How do you not know that? It's Ric Flair.
Speaking
it's
of
only
which,
the greatest Rumble.
Speaking of which, Royal Rumble tonight. Who do you got?
I got Ric Flair, man. He's going to come back and he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I got Ric Flair in an upset. No,
I got Johnny Knoxville. He's in it. He's going to win it. WWE doesn't care about their own product anymore. They're just going to let Johnny Knoxville win it to promote Jackass 4.
I like that. Johnny Knoxville gets Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. I'm in, baby. If that happens, I'm in. I will watch WrestleMania for that. I will watch what. No, it's going to be Wee Man. That's what it's going to be. Wee Man's going to win it.
Nah.
No, I really am kind of intrigued. I may have to watch the Royal Rumble match because I do want to see the Jackass guys do compete in that. So, and obviously they're stunt guys too, so they know how to semi work with it as well. So, but yeah, I'm all intrigued for it.
Knoxville that's in it, but that doesn't mean that Steve-O's not going to have a run in and try to save him or something like that.
Yeah, or Wee Man.
You gotta look at it. I mean, like you said, he does have a stunt background. And we even talked last year on our best Royal Rumbles countdown about the 2001 Royal Rumble. Drew Carey doesn't have much athleticism, but he still came in and made it at least entertaining. So I'm not mad at all about Johnny Knoxville being in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I think Bad Bunny had a run in for the 2021 Royal Rumble. That was fun. I was very intrigued by that. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
But not enough for me to watch WrestleMania, but yeah, I will definitely. I'm very intrigued now. I hope. I hope Knoxville actually has a little bit of a run where he lasts for maybe 4 or 5. It isn't like the Drew Carey thing,
I hope Johnny Knoxville goes back and brings back the hardcore crap and just starts hitting people in the nuts with a bowling ball or something.
Yeah, that's what I want. No, I want him to pull a Shawn Michaels, go number 1 and go through the entire Rumble.
That'd be hilarious. He just keeps bringing in weapons and hitting people with stuff. That's what I want to see. I want to see Johnny Knoxville crawl out of the ring and then have Preston Lacey do a splash on a big thing that launches Johnny Knoxville into the ring and into an elbow drop on somebody. That would be great.
Yeah, and have Danger Aaron do something dangerously, he flies off the ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
There's no shortage of possibilities with it.
I am. I mean, I have actually watched trailers for the Jackass movie, and I'm so excited. For some reason, I'm so excited for this movie. I don't know why. It's just I don't know. It's just one of those nostalgia things that you're just man, I love this franchise. Keep it going. Even though these guys are getting up there in age, you're just I love it. I want Johnny to keep, riding a bull or something like that, or hitting the nuts.
I said, I can't wait. Last week we talked about it. I want to see Francis Ngannou punch Danger Aaron in the nuts. Like I've said, I'm looking forward to it.
I am as well. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an amazing.
There's definitely some gross stuff, but there's definitely some funny stuff too.
I know. Well, the only problem is it's just I don't think Bam Margera's in it, so you're not going to get yeah.
I gotta be honest. May he rest in peace. He wasn't my favorite part of any of the Jackass stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's always a great stuff. And then, maybe just, Preston and Wee Man just, running against each other in their underwear. That's always funny for me. I don't know why. hopefully Wee-Man can kick himself in the head still.
Maybe. Or the return of the razor shave.
Yes. Yes. Or let's say, have just like a bunch of bees or something like that. There's always like bees or.
Well, this one, it looks like there's a spider in between Danger Aaron and somebody.
Oh. Oh, yeah. It's probably like one of those like just really deadly spiders too. Just like.
It looks like a tarantula. We'll see.
Oh.
Now I know we had talked about, obviously, our big idea for the show this week was going to be most snake-bitten franchises. You were the one who brought this idea to the table, so introduce the topic.
Well, really, I mean, it just came up to me that Monday, really after the Buffalo Bills really lost that game, and just how terrible the defense was, and I was just like, man, that just given the Buffalo Bills' history, I mean, they definitely got to be on top of the list, just given their history of these crazy playoffs happening, both good and bad. I mean, it's just like it just feels like a lot of the bad,
Well, with the Bills, for them to go 4 straight Super Bowls without winning one, like, just think about the odds of doing that, to be there every year and not be able to close out the deal. Like, I mean, they are definitely at the top of this list. And then the fact that they're finally good again, but still, it seems like every time they're good, they run into Kansas City, and they can't clear that hump in the playoffs now. I mean, they are certainly in the mix. Plus, even the year that they almost could have maybe made the Super Bowl, but then the Titans went because they were able to beat them on the Music City Miracle. Like, the Bills are definitely at the top of this list for sure.
Oh, definitely. I think they're probably definitely number one now. I think the 13 seconds thing puts them over the hump. And it's just and the thing is too about the 4 Super Bowls, it got like progressively worse for them. Losing on a last second field goal in the first one, and then really kind of get dominated the next three Super Bowls. I mean, that has to be heartbreaking as well.
Obviously, it is. Obviously, it's very heartbreaking for the Bills and that franchise. Like, I mean, and them, obviously, between the Music City Miracle and then a couple of years ago, for them not even really to have any playoff games or any playoff wins. I mean, it's been a long time of misery for the Buffalo Bills fan base. And the bad part for the Buffalo fans is that there's not really another team in that area that's any good for you to be like, okay, well, at least we have this team. Because, I mean, look at it from our perspective, Bushy. Obviously, we're both Broncos fans, and the Broncos have been terrible for 6 years. But at least the Avalanche are good. At least the Nuggets are good. But the Sabres are the only other thing that Buffalo really has. And they're terrible, too.
Right, and you got to put the Sabres up there as far as with snake-bitten teams as well. I mean, they've made it to the Cup Finals a couple of times, obviously losing to Philadelphia in 76, and then obviously losing to 1999, and that really, is his foot in the crease, is his not. His foot was clearly in the crease, but then you find out later that they changed the rule where if you had possession of the puck, I mean, it really was like a terrible thing. To kind of think and to lose on that as well. I mean, that really is just like really snake bitten too. And then, having a really good team in 06 really, or 06, 07, and then losing to Ottawa in Game 7 when you had it on your home arena too. So, I mean, that really has been a really snake bitten team. And then, and just really haven't made it to the playoffs. I mean, I believe they're the longest drought team to not make the playoffs in the NHL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it might be the longest in North American sports. Let me see.
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
Oh, wait, no. That's the NFL's. The Jets are the longest, obviously, there. Let's see.
I think the Sabres are right around where the Jets are as well.
Yeah, the Sabres are up there. Actually, looking at it, the longest.
It's Sacramento, I believe.
The longest playoff drought currently in the major 4 sports is the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, that's a snake bitten. That going right to the snake bitten team. So I mean, it's just they really have had the unluck as well. Really, I mean, they had like really good teams in those early 2000s, and they just happened to run into the Kobe Shaq Lakers teams, and really, and you had a chance too. Going back, you had the chance. You had Game 7 at your home court, and yeah, you really kind of crapped the bed to try to go to the NBA Finals. And really, I mean, if they'd gotten past that Lakers team, they probably would have won the championship that year.
And you're right. It was about 10 seasons now for the Buffalo Sabres without a playoff appearance.
I mean, that's just crazy to kind of think about. I mean, it's just, especially for like hockey, when 8 teams get in each conference. I mean, to just be that bad for 10 years and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better too, especially for the Buffalo Sabres too.
Right. And actually, the Sacramento Kings are the longest in the NBA. They've been without it for 15 years.
Yeah, and and that's the thing too. They just haven't been good either. It's just they really haven't been flirting with anything as far as with that.
And the Mariners are the longest in North American pro sports. Theirs is at 20 years.
And again, that's a Snakebitten team too. That's a Snakebitten team too.
Comparable lists. For some reason, you keep like going all bright on me, and then like it looks like you're in a kaleidoscope or something.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, hold on.
In any event, we'll talk about the Seattle Mariners. Obviously, they set a record for wins at the time in that 0-1 season. They have all this talent with Ichiro and Brett Boone and John Olerud at first base, Edgar Martinez at DH. I mean, they have this really good team, and they just couldn't get it done. And for whatever reason, the Mariners were really good late 90s, early 2000s, and could never, ever get past the Yankees.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we usually record these at night, so I know it's weird seeing it during the day. But yeah, the Mariners, I mean, that's a crazy thing as well, just having them not make the playoffs at all. And it's just right. And now with the wild card, I mean, they were really kind of flirting with it this year. We thought this was going to be the year they finally, at least get to like at least a playoff game for that, to get that sudden death playoff game for them. But obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I feel like
close though.
Yeah,
they were close. I mean, and if there is a season this year, they could maybe make it.
Yeah, and it's just like a shame too, because they really had good talent as well. And yeah, they just really haven't put the talent together as well.
If you look at it too, I mean, like I was saying, they had like Ichiro, Edgar Martinez, Brett Boone, John Olerud. They had a really good team back in 0-1. Jay Buhner, Griffey in the late 90s. Like, I mean, they had tons of talent. Mike Cameron's another guy.
Randy Johnson
in the late 90s. A-Rod as a rookie. And, I mean, they had the talent, and they were making it to the playoffs, but they could just never beat the Yankees.
Yeah, they just could never beat the Yankees. And, yeah, that was just – I feel like that's a trend we're kind of talking about with these snake-bitten teams, really. I mean, it's just they always have been like a good enough team but never gotten over the hump.
I mean, so when we're talking snake-bitten, are we talking bad luck? Are we talking just bad results? Are we talking – what are we talking here?
I mean, I guess both. I mean, I guess you gotta put the Detroit Lions in that. If we're talking about just bad luck and bad this, I mean, you got to put the Detroit Lions. I mean, it's just that's a team that's
just. The Lions and the Browns are in this mix of they've never been close to anything. At least the Bills and like some of these other teams have been good enough to get your hopes up. Like, there's no hope if you're a Lions fan. There's no hope if you're a Browns fan. Last season was the closest thing a Browns fan has ever had to hope in 25 years.
And it's that too. And it's just like they've been in the NFC Championship like twice, and that's about it. I mean, that's the bad thing about the Lions. I mean, it's just like, yeah, they haven't won a championship since '57, but it's not like they haven't even really sniffed anything. They haven't really sniffed the championship. They've never been to the Super Bowl since the Super Bowl's been created. It's crazy. It's one of these longest running franchises that's never been to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Never.
Obviously, the Browns probably would have if it wasn't for John Elway 3 times stopping them from advancing to it.
Yeah, 3 times stopped. Yeah.
The Mariners, like, obviously the Yankees were the team that was kind of in their way. For the Browns, it was the Broncos. The Broncos are the team that's kept the Browns from having that success.
Yeah, that was the case, in the late '80s for them, and it's just and they had a case too, with losing to the Oakland Raiders when they went to the championship. So
Yep.
they've had they had chances during the '80s to make a run, and it just Red by '88, the drive, the fumble, really throwing really throwing out a dud against the Broncos in '89 as well too. So
Right.
I mean, it's just, that was a team that just could get over the hump as well.
Exactly. And I mean, I think it's obviously a little bit too early because we talk about the Lions because it's been a 50-year drought for them. The Browns have obviously been around for the bulk of these Super Bowls as well and haven't been to one. But at what point do you start putting in these newer franchises that haven't been able to get there, like the Jaguars and the Texans? Because, I mean, you talk about not being able to sniff it. The Jaguars and the Texans don't seem like they're going to be anywhere near it either. And they're going to be bad for a while, it looks like right now.
Well,
Especially if the Jaguars hire our boy Vic Fangio.
Well,
and they interviewed him last week.
If that happens, yeah, too. And the Raiders with Josh McDaniels, give me that, baby. I mean, but you got to start putting the Raiders kind of in that mold as well, because it's almost 40 years since they won a Super Bowl. Like, and really, and they've been to the Super Bowl literally only once in that 40-year span. Right. I mean, that's kind of crazy to kind of think about it. When you kind of think about with the whole Raider franchise, and as well, I think you got to start putting the Jaguars in there, and you got to put in the Houston Oilers / Tennessee Titans with that mix as well, because they've had dreaded playoff losses both as the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans. Losing to the Buffalo Bills and then losing to the Kansas City Chiefs the next year. The franchises move. They were literally 1 yard away from tying up the Super Bowl against the Rams as well. I mean, that's got to be kind of snake-bitten as well. And then, they've been in like 4 or 5 years too. They've been the number one seed, and they've lost in the divisional round too. They don't even make it to the NFC champion or the AFC championship game.
Yeah, they really don't. And I mean, you got to put them in the mix, and you can almost pinpoint the moment of despair for those franchises where the snake bite occurred. For the Tennessee Titans, it was the stop 1 yard short of the goal line in that Super Bowl against the Rams. For the Raiders, it was the Tom Brady tuck rule situation. Like, ever since those moments, that's when the snake bite, it seems like, occurred.
Yeah, that's when the snake bite occurs. Yeah, I guess. What do you put to Jacksonville? Because Jacksonville, you got to put, because it's a team that's been to two AFC championships, but that was in the first 5 years of their existence.
Well, they went to the one against the
they went to the one, against Brady. I'm sorry, yeah, they've been to 3 AFC championship games, and it's just like, they lost to the Patriots twice, and then lost to the Tennessee Titans too, in which that team was a really, really good team. That Jaguars team probably wanted. It's amazing. I mean, I think if they won, they probably could have won. They probably could have beaten that Rams team.
I don't think they would have beaten that Rams team. I think, obviously the Titans and the Jaguars were both very good teams at the time, but you got to look at it too. And I mean, instead of sucking the poison out for the case of the Raiders, once that snake bite occurred, they went out and drafted Jamarcus Russell, and they did some of these other things that set their franchise back for decades.
Right, yeah, and you have this, and you had this intern coach that really kind of handled everything, and then literally you're like, bye, and now you're thinking about bringing Josh McDaniels in, that's amazing. I want to beat the Raiders now by 50 points every time we play them now.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
I know, as long as Josh McDaniels is the coach, I'm like, I want the Broncos to win by 50 points every time. Like, it's just, I want to bury them.
And then you talk about it too, and you got to, but you got to throw the Texans in that mix a little bit, because it feels like they're a little snake bitten. The Carolina Panthers have been to 2 Super Bowls and have not really had much success. And I mean, you really can't talk about snake bitten franchises without pointing to the Atlanta Falcons because of what happened in that Super Bowl a few years ago against Brady. You can't do it. They are definitely in this mix.
Oh yeah, the Atlanta Falcons are definitely in this mix when it comes to snake bitten stuff too, and it's not a case too of just they had obviously the 28-3 collapse as well, and then obviously when they got to their first Super Bowl, you had the Dirty Birds and all that, they got completely thrashed by the Denver Broncos. I mean, it wasn't a contest. Like, rewatching that game, I was like, my God, the Broncos dominated that game. I mean, it wasn't like a case of just, oh, Atlanta kept it close. No, the Broncos dominated that game. And they've had championship losses too.
Yeah, I mean,
They're getting into the NFC Championship. They lose it.
A couple of them. Like they're a team that when they had Michael Vick was on the verge of maybe going to a couple more Super Bowls. But like I said, they're snake-bitten. And you can't talk about snake-bitten NFL franchises without talking about the Minnesota Vikings. You can't do it. You can't. They are probably at the top of this list too. They lose 4 in the 70s. And then that year that the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, the Vikings had a vastly better team than the Falcons did that year against when the Falcons lost to the Broncos. The Vikings had a vastly better team, couldn't get to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Falcons again when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl a few years ago. And, I mean, they have these moments where, like, okay, they have the miracle play against the Saints, and then they turn around and lose it the next week to Philadelphia. Or they are on the verge of beating the Seahawks in the playoffs, and then the kicker can't kick it. They are so snake-bitten, and it feels like every time they get close, they get thrashed or something happens, and they blow it on the last second. And, I mean, they are at the top of the snake-bitten list too, because like Buffalo, they've been to 4 Super Bowls and haven't won any.
Right. Yeah. I feel like it's the NFC equivalent of the Buffalo Bills too. So, and yeah, you got to think back to that year when they had those couple of years when they had Brett Favre. They went to the championship in 2009. I mean, it's just like if Brett Favre throws this, lost on the coin toss, but like Brett Favre throws this ill-advised, back to the middle of the field throw. I mean, if he throws to Adrian Peterson and throws it out, maybe they have a chance, but no, he tries to become Brett Favre and throw in the middle of the field, which was easily picked off as far as with that. I mean, and they've had success through these decades too. I mean, I think that's worse, than the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
Been good. Like they've been consistently good to decent this whole time.
Yeah. But that's always been your thing too. It's just like, they always have this miracle win, but then they get thrashed the next week. They have that miracle in Minnesota, and then they get thrashed by the Eagles the next week.
Right, exactly.
And they had a good thing against in 2000 against the Giants. They get to the NFC Championship game, they get thrashed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you look at the talent that they've had over the years too. I mean, obviously, you talked about Adrian Peterson, Favre. You got to talk about Randy Moss. You got to talk about Chris Carter. They've had the talent. It feels like over the years to potentially be that team, and they never take that step.
Anthony Carter,
Super Bowl in what, almost 50 years?
No, not yet. We're coming up to it though. We're coming up since the last Super Bowl appearance. So I mean, and it's going to be 50 years. I mean, it's crazy to think about that.
It hasn't been an art. I mean, I know it's been a long time, and obviously, I mean, you gotta go if we're gonna throw out the crap teams too. You gotta throw out the Jets. The Jets are in this mix too.
Yeah, you got to throw out the Jets. I mean,
the butt fumble was the moment that they got snake bitten too.
And they haven't. I know it's just crazy too. They haven't been to a Super Bowl
since the butt fumble,
and they haven't been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl III. That's crazy. We've had over 50 Super Bowls. We've had more than 50 other Super Bowls since Super Bowl III, and somehow they have not made it. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. It's just one of those that just really dawns on people as far as with that. At least with the Falcons, at least they've made it. And we're coming up too with the Bills. We're coming up on 30 years since they've been to the Super Bowl too.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you look at some of these droughts and they are quite impressive.
They are quite impressive, yeah. And it's just been, we're coming up on 20 years since the Raiders been to the Super. It's been 20 years since the Raiders been to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just.
Well, if we're going to go down that road, though, we gotta have to eat our own crow on this one. As much as we love the Avalanche, Bushy, it's been 20 years since the Avalanche has been in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, we gotta point that too. Yeah, and it's just, and they've been kind of snake bitten for the past 3 years. It's just with the non-offsides, and then obviously with the Game 7, they got the lead, but then gave it right back during that bubble against the Stars, and then losing it in overtime, and then obviously losing to Vegas last year in 6 games, which was very, very frustrating. Man, I just hope this is the year, man. Like this feels like the year. It really does.
Gotta hope it's the year.
It feels like the year, man. Like if it's not, I'm gonna be like just so heartbroken and disappointed if they don't win if they don't get the cup this year.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's
We're talking 20 years. You got to talk 20 years across.
I know. I know. It's crazy to think about it. It's been 20 years since they've been to the cup. I mean, it's just and it's been 20 years since they've been to at least to a Western Conference Finals. I mean, it's been a lot of first round exits or second round exits. Really, they haven't. And this was a franchise. When they came into Colorado, they were going to the Western Conference Finals each year.
Yeah, every year.
So it just seemed like they were doing it every year.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't happened.
Nope.
It just hasn't happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing is like we could honestly go through that. There's a ton of franchises.
Well, if we're gonna stay with hockey, we might as well talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs as well. I mean, that team has been a snake-bitten team too. That's a team that hasn't won since '67 as well. And it just they've had really like down years, but then like the '90s they picked up. Obviously they got they lose to the Kings in the Western Conference Finals in '93. They lose to the Canucks in the Western Conference Finals in '94. That kind of differed, and it's just and it just feels like too this team has a lot of talent, but just a lot of snake bitten too. I mean, we're coming up on 20 years too. If we're talking about this 20 years thing, it's been 20 years since they've actually won a playoff series. At least with the Avs, at least they've won like a playoff series here or there.
Right.
Yeah, but Toronto hasn't won a playoff series.
They haven't, and I mean, like I said, that's a fan base that is like there's so many Maple Leafs fans that haven't seen that team be relevant.
Yeah, just haven't been relevant, or it's just or haven't made like a cup run, and it's just and they haven't been to the cup.
No,
like that, like that's the thing. It's like the Jets; they haven't been to the cup.
Right. It's actually a similar drought span.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's kind of it's similar. Yeah, because 69, 70, so it's a little bit more than the Jets, but I mean it's basically the Jets and the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, and I mean you look at I'm looking at ESPN right now to see where the Maple Leafs are standing this year, but I'm also like ESPN's still reporting this Brady thing, even though his dad says he's not. Still weird to me that they're sticking to their guns and doubling down on this.
They're doubling down. I know. It's
Despite
great.
Not having any official, like Tom Brady said, the Maple Leafs are okay this year, but once again, it feels like once they get to the playoffs, they lose. And you almost got to, we talked about it a few seconds ago. The Canucks beat them to advance to the conference finals. Like, the Canucks are sort of on that list, too. They went to the Cup finals against the Bruins and lost. But really, for the most part, they've kind of had limited success even when they've had good teams.
Yeah, they've kind of had limited success. Yeah, and they've been kind of like these one-and-done teams or, losing in the second round type of things as well. And it's just – it's crazy, to think about it too. Yeah, and it's just – it's funny too because it's like they went to the Cup in the 80s, but they lost to the Islanders teams. And then they went to the Cup in the 90s and lose to 7 games to the Rangers. Then they make to the Cup in 2011 where you have home ice too for Game 7, but then you lose to the Bruins.
Yep.
Too. So, I mean, it's just, and it really is a team with a bunch of bad luck too. And then adding Bruce Boudreau now as the head coach, that's just going to be spelling probably doom and disaster for them as far as playoff wise for them.
And we can't talk snake bites without talking about, for me in hockey, the San Jose Sharks. This is a team that was consistently good throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, and even into the 2010s. They were in the playoffs virtually every year. And they don't even have a cup appearance to show for it.
They do have a cup appearance in 16, but they lose it. But they lost in like 5-6 games too. I mean, it's just. But I agree with you. Yeah, you got to put that in. It really is kind of a theme too. Yeah, because it's a lot of snake bit too. Because it's just they've always had constantly good regular seasons where they're always like the 1 or 2 seed, but then they lose in the first round. Or, they get past the first round, but then they lose. Right. They make it to the Cup, but they lose in 6 to the Penguins. And then, then they keep making it, but then they lose. They lose in like the first round. And then obviously they make it to the conference. They make it to the conference finals in 2019, but then really, I mean, they get a bunch of injuries really at the worst time for that. I mean, it's just like, and it's funny, you're watching that Game 5 game. I mean, their bench looked like a little league team. I mean, where a bunch of kids were out sick or on vacation. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean they've been to like 4 or 5 Western Conference Finals and haven't made it into the Cup. And they made it the one time, like you said, but I mean they did lose it that year too to the Penguins. And I mean, like I said, this is a team that's kind of snake bitten too.
I mean, I guess we could put like all the Canadian teams kind of in this snake bit kind of territory, especially too with the Canadians, because we're coming up on 30 years since the Canadians have won the Cup.
And I mean, they advanced last year to the Cup.
Yeah.
Again, get wiped out by the Lightning. But that's the closest any Canadian team's really been in a long time to making. I guess Edmonton was also in the Cup in the early 2000s.
Edmonton was in the Cup but lost to 7. Vancouver lost in 7.
Right.
And Calgary lost to 7 as well. So, I mean, it's just – I mean, we're 30 years since Calgary won the Cup. You know, we're coming up on 30 years since the Canadians have won the Cup.
And the Canadians, I mean, you can point to the moment they got snake bitten too was with the Patrick Waugh trade. I mean, they haven't won it since.
Yeah, you could put it that way. I guess. And it's our benefits.
The Canadian curse.
The Canadians curse. Yeah, because Winnipeg loses a team. Granted, they get it back, so that's good.
Because I mean, the Senators even had that good team that lost to the Ducks in the Cup.
That's right. Yeah, the Senators. Yeah, they went to the Cup but lost. And
they had a good team in that era too with Hossa and Alfredson.
Yeah, but then they got kind of steamrolled, and now I mean, it really is kind of crazy to kind of think about that. Yeah, because it's just like, man, we're coming up on 30 years since a Canada team won the Cup.
Exactly.
It's just like, man, they need to bring the balance back. I think they need to, you had two, and during that span, 2 Canadian teams left, Winnipeg and Quebec, but they gained one back with Winnipeg coming back. So
right.
It's just it really is. You could talk a lot. Too. You got with baseball too. I mean, you got to talk about like the Mets or something like that. I mean, that's a team that haven't won since '86, and they've been to. And it's like they went to the World Series a couple of times, but obviously, I think their best chance maybe was '06, and then they lose in Game 7 against the Cardinals.
Right, but I mean, they've had chances in there too. They had the year that they lost to the Yankees in 2000 in the World Series, and then they go one year and lose to the Royals in the World Series too. Yeah,
they lose to that Royals team in 15. That was good. So it's just it really is crazy to think about that.
The Mariners are certainly at the top of the list as well. I mean, the Mets, especially now, they're going out and they're spending so much, especially if we do have a season this year, like the Mets on paper should have that team. But at some point, that snake bite's probably going to creep up.
Well, and it's funny too. We really, if we did this podcast probably in 2019, we could have talked about the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers, but obviously they won with Dodgers winning in 2020, and then obviously Atlanta winning this year. So we probably could have talked about them as well.
So that means that we got to talk about the Minnesota Twins. Like the 20-plus years without winning a playoff series?
And a losing streak, too.
Yeah.
They haven't won a game. That's snake bit. They haven't won a game in quite some time. Playoff game. They've gotten swept.
Every time they get swept. And I mean, once again, it's not like they haven't been to the playoffs. They just go to the playoffs and gets bounced right out of there.
Yeah, they get bounced in 3 games. And they obviously bounced in 2 games with the 2020. But they get bounced in 3 games by the other team. It's just crazy that they've had like this amazing losing streak.
Yeah. You got to put them in there. You got to put Tampa Bay almost kind of in that mix. They've been to 2 World Series. They haven't won it.
Yeah.
They're getting close.
It's sort of like the Jaguars type of thing too. Yeah, it's sort of like that Jaguars Panther. Actually, it's more of the Carolina Panthers. You know, they've had success and
they've been to the World Series.
They've been to the World Series, but yeah, obviously losing the 6 and then in 2, and then having this great season this year and then getting bounced in 5,
right?
Or getting bounced in 4 by the Red Sox.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to put the Rockies a little bit on this list because they haven't been able to pull it out. But you also got to put the Oakland A's on the list. The Oakland A's have had a lot of success, especially in the early 2000s. And it seems like they're knocking on the door of the playoffs every year, and they can't really get over it either.
And it's been 30 years since their championships, and it's been a plus 30-year drought for a championship as well.
Yeah. And
I think it's been plus 30 years since they've been to the World Series as well. So, I mean, you got to put that in as well.
Because there's a lot of teams in the NL Central, too, that have those long droughts. It's been over 30 years for the Pirates. It's been over 30 years for the Reds. And the Brewers have never been to one either.
Well, they went in 82. But yeah, I mean, they've had really good teams the past. That's been the frustrating thing too. I think when he put in Snakebitten, because they've actually had really good teams the past 3-4 years. And they haven't put it together. I mean, it's just with Atlanta, obviously losing to Atlanta in 4, and then getting bounced by the in 18 would really that probably was a chance for them to win. They lose to the they lose to the Dodgers as well. So
I got one more team for you on the MLB, the Texas Rangers.
Oh yeah, that's a snake-bitten team. Actually, if you're talking about the creme de la creme, I guess with now that the Cubs won in 16, their opponent of that 2016 World Series, the Cleveland Indians / Guardians. Is it really a snake-bit
one for MLB? Because it's been 70 years almost.
It's been 70 years, and I think too some of their best moments too have had. I think some of their best moments have happened in the fictional sporting world too, with Major League 1 and 2.
Right. And then you look at it too. I mean, obviously the Cubs erased their crowd against them. They lose it in 97 against the Marlins. In 07, they have the Red Sox down 3-1 with a chance to advance to the World Series and can't close them out. And if you look at them throughout the 90s and 2000s, they had a really good team.
They did. And it's just,
the whole 90s.
Those late 90s, early 2000s teams were amazing, and they just really couldn't get over the hump. Yeah. Except in 95, they obviously lose to the Braves, and then, 97, they lose to the Marlins.
And then they lose to the Cubs. I mean, I said, and then you have the Rangers who went back-to-back years and lost to the Giants.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, for the Rangers, because it's just you had chances of winning that game and winning the World Series, and you had like 2 chances, and then David Freese is going to be when they've been snake-bit, man, with the venom. David Freese, man, helping the Cardinals.
He did. Didn't he help them against the Tigers too the one time or no?
I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember that. But in any event, that's kind of the MLB creme de la creme has got to be the Indians / Guardians. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna, keep going too with the snake-bitten, I guess we're gonna turn to the world of basketball. I mean, really, you got to talk about the Denver Nuggets as well. I mean, it's just really, I mean, they haven't won a championship, and it's been over 50 years for this franchise as well. And it's funny too when they had like the 50-year anniversary, they were spouting all the 50-year stuff, and I'm like, 50 years of mediocrity. That's what the Nuggets were all about.
Right. And I mean, they went to the conference finals the one year against the Lakers. And
then that 1 year against the Lakers, and then that 1 year against the Lakers. It's always the damn Lakers.
Right. And you talk about those teams that have kind of prevented, like if the Nuggets can avoid the Lakers in the playoffs, they're gold.
They're gold, yeah.
Gold, Jerry, gold.
They're gold, Jerry. I mean, but it's just really, I mean, this has probably been the best stretch for Nuggets basketball in probably 40 years of Nuggets basketball,
Well, I mean, they had that, like I said, they had that late 2000s run where the Lakers were bumping them every year. But
Right.
I mean, you got to look at it. I mean, right now they have one good player who just kind of carries them overall.
Yeah. He just happens to be the best player in the NBA, baby.
Who's good enough to get? Yeah, that one player is good enough to get them to 45 wins in the playoffs.
I know, and it's just like it's just really just
One guy.
One guy. I know, and it's just like, oh man, are we really gonna waste these Jokic years, really?
Right.
With like these injuries and just mediocrity sometimes?
Yep.
Because it's just like, oh man, like it's just like man, we have to. And the worst part, I guess, Snakebitten too, is just we can't even watch him. We can't even watch him here.
Yeah.
Unless we have DirecTV, and like nobody wants DirecTV.
No. Also, you got to look at Snakebitten though, because I mean, yeah, it's terrible that we can't watch the Nuggets, but I was at the bar and got to watch him the other night, and man, Jokic is just amazing. The you got to go to LA for the Snakebitten team too, though. The Los Angeles Clippers. They
Yes, the good old Clippers.
Teams a couple of times, and they still can't win it. They still can't even go to the NBA Finals.
You're right. Yeah, they can't even go to the finals, and it's just and they and they lose 3-1 against the Nuggets in the bubble.
Right. And I mean, they have the teams like even back in the late 2000s, early 2010s with CP3, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. On paper, that's a big three in and of itself. But they couldn't close the deal. They go out and they get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and they can't close that deal. Like they find a way to lose it every time.
They find a way, and yeah, and really, I mean, for the first part of our years, they were just an awful franchise. Like they were just terrible. They were like probably the worst run franchise ever. And like it's starting to get better now with Steve Ballmer. But yeah, I mean, yeah, now they're really, I mean, they've been snake bit too, because it's like Kawhi's hurt, Paul George is kind of hurt. I mean, they're really kind of like a meddling 500 franchise.
They are, absolutely. They're snake bitten. I mean, almost like there's so many Western Conference teams, because you got to point to the Phoenix Suns too, because even last year they go to the NBA Finals, but they can't get it done. They had a couple of great runs in the late 90s or early 90s with Barkley and Jason Kidd on the roster. Maybe they weren't together, but Barkley and Kevin Johnson were good. And then you had Steve Nash, Sean Marion, and Amare Stoudemire. They couldn't close the deal. Like, they've had good enough teams throughout our lifetime where one of those teams should have been able to break through and get it done.
Yeah, should have been able to break through. Obviously, with 93, losing, and they lost in like heartbreaking games too, like last second shots too. I mean, that's the case too. Then obviously losing last year, that was probably their best chance to probably win it. And yeah,
Giannis is good, but I mean the other guys on that team, once again, it wasn't like the supporting cast, like a Jordan era supporting cast. Stop.
Yeah, and then those mid to late 2000s. It's just like they either ran to the Spurs or the Lakers. So it really was just kind of a shame. Yeah, that was a team that's just they've had snake bitten, with like games and all that. Obviously with runs. As well, and yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Do they open it? Is this the year finally for them?
And you gotta talk about the Utah Jazz. Same thing.
Utah Jazz, yep,
against Jordan in the finals, and they can't get it done.
They can't get it done, and then it's just like when they have this good team, they lose to a game and all that. And it's like they lose to the Clippers last year. They were up 3-1 against the Nuggets in the bubble, and they lose to that as well. I mean, it's just, really, this team has been really, really snake bitten too. I mean, it's just, and yeah, I mean, we're coming up to for 30 years, man. I mean, it's been 25. It's almost 25 years since the Jordan shot against them,
right?
As well, it's kind of crazy to think about it.
Yeah,
the flu game or the bad pizza game now.
Either way. And you also either way, you gotta also say, I said it's been a long time. They've wasted some good players, and then they were kind of middling throughout the whole 2000s era.
Right. Well, and you talk about you gotta go back to New York too when you're talking about snake bitten basketball teams too. The New York Knicks.
Yep.
It's a team that hasn't won in 50 years. You know, we're up 50 years now since this last time the team has won. So it's kind of.
Yeah, you had Jordan kind of raining on their parade.
Jordan.
They advance to the finals and they lose to the Rockets and
Rockets.
Spurs.
Yeah, losing to the Spurs. Obviously, Reggie Miller was kind of in there too. The losing to Indiana a couple of years, and then just having this really once once every like 6-7 years they have that one good season, and then they go back to being the Knicks again. So,
right. And you almost have to throw the Nets in that mix too, because I mean now they have this good team and they still haven't made it to any sort of finals. They made it to one finals back in like 2001, right? Or was it 2000?
I think they went three. They went two. Yeah, I think they went three straight. Yeah, they went three. Yeah,
I know the 76ers went one.
No, they went. Yeah, they went to 2 straight years. Yeah, they went to 2 straight years in 02 and 03, but obviously lost both of those games or both of those series. Yeah, and it's just they, obviously with the move to Brooklyn, and when you have Kevin Durant. With Kyrie and James Harden, they're trying to go all in.
Like last year was supposed to be their year, and they get beat by the Bucks in 7. Like, I mean,
that's kind of a snake-bitten team. Yeah, it's a team that hasn't won since the
you're right.
Since the ABA.
Wish he would win on Sports Jeopardy. Look at that. He was right. They did go in 02, 03.
Thank you. Yeah. No, but this is the team that hasn't won since they were in the ABA.
Yep.
So I mean, it's just that's kind of telling and bad.
And I mean, they were pretty bad throughout the 90s too, especially like late 90s.
Yeah. They were pretty bad. Oh yeah, they were definitely bad until they got like Kenyon Martin and Jason Kidd, and all them.
Yeah, that was
Keith Van Horn, baby. He's the underrated one. Keith Van Horn.
It was like they advanced to like the NBA. They advanced to the playoffs in '98, but once again, that was pointless. They were the 8th seed against the Jordan Bulls, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah, they were like the Brooklyn Brawler of the NBA that year.
Yeah, so, they just got in, but then they lose.
And I mean, you mentioned Reggie Miller. You almost have to throw the Pacers in that mix a little bit too.
You know what? Yeah, you have to. You have to. I mean, it's a team that had success in the ABA. And really haven't had success in the NBA. They really kind of meddling teams, but then in the late mid 90s, obviously had good teams. They got to the finals, but obviously lost to the Shaq Kobe Lakers. Yep. They and they had good teams in the early 2010s, but obviously lost to LeBron's Heat. So it really is just kind of like a shame, really. I mean, it's just Indiana could have been, they once in a while they could have been a good team, but it hasn't happened.
Yep, exactly.
And it's just like, oh man, I feel like basketball just has like a longer list. I think as far as with like Snakebitten,
right? Because I mean, there's like the teams that have been close and haven't gotten there, and then there's the other teams that like haven't been that close and still have been terrible for a long time, like the Charlotte Hornets and the Orlando Magic and the Timberwolves and like all these teams that are like they have like 1 or 2 years where they like rise up and then they're back down for 10. And they're back up for like 2 and they're down for 8 or something like that.
I mean, if we were doing this podcast literally a year ago, we probably could have put the Milwaukee Bucks in this mix.
We probably could have.
Like, this is the team that really has been snake bitten.
Not anymore.
Not anymore since they won.
They got their ring. Same with the Braves. So,
I mean, if we're talking about like newer-ish franchises too for them, we could be talking about the Grizzlies too. Like the Grizzlies have been like really kind of snake bitten too. Obviously going to a couple of conference championships, but they run into the Spurs, run into the Golden State when Golden State was starting to become it. It really is just kind of a shame they got sucked into this era like in between where it's just like, oh man, we lose to the Lakers. Oh man, we lose to the Spurs back when the Spurs had that one last gasp. And then we lose to the Golden State when Golden State starts becoming an up and coming team.
And then you almost have to talk about the Portland Trailblazers too, because they're a team that's always, it feels like decent, but never decent enough.
Yeah, and that was probably their best run. Actually, was probably 2019, I think, when they went to the Western Conference Finals, but then lost the 5 games to the Golden State, even with the Durant injury too. They still lost the 5 games.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just very, very bad. I mean, it's a team that we're coming up on almost 50 years now since they've last won an NBA championship, and it's just a lot of bad things too. It's just like Bill Walton getting hurt, and then obviously picking Bowie over Michael Jordan. Obviously Kevin Durant over Greg Oden. It's like, obviously had some good teams in the early '90s, but then you lost to the Pistons. Then during the Bad Boys era, you lost to Jordan when Jordan was dominant as well. I mean, it's just they've been probably one of the most snake-bitten teams too.
I mean, really, in our lifetime, I mean, how many teams have won the NBA championship? It's been Lakers, Warriors, Spurs for the West. And Bulls. Oh, I guess the Rockets did a couple of times.
Yeah, Rockets did for a couple of years. We had the Bulls.
Jordan was playing baseball.
Then you had the Heat.
The Cavs.
The Cavs.
And then the one-offs by the Bucks and the Raptors.
Bucks and the Raptors. Yeah, so we're at 9 teams.
Like 10 teams maybe have won it in our lifetime.
Lakers. Yeah, because Lakers three-peated. Yeah, and then the Spurs won. Oh, Pistons, 10.
Yeah, Pistons. Oh, and the Celtics had that one year with the big three, too.
Yeah, so we're at 11. But there's what, 32 teams?
Like 30.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 30. Yeah, there's 30 teams. Yeah, so it's just like, a third of a team. But I feel like that's not good. When a 30 – good. I mean, what's with, like, baseball? I'm kind of curious with baseball now.
Well, let's see. In our lifetime, yeah.
So we had so Twins won. The Reds won. The Reds won in '90.
The Blue Jays won.
Blue Jays twice.
Marlins twice.
Marlins twice. Atlanta twice.
Twice.
Yeah, the Yankees.
Yankees, obviously. Red Sox.
Phillies.
Orioles. Or no, not the Orioles. White Sox. White Sox is who it is.
White Sox. Astros. Cubs. Cardinals. Giants. Royals.
The Nationals a few years ago.
Nationals, yep.
Diamondbacks.
I forgot about the Diamondbacks. I think we're at like 16 now.
Angels.
Oh, jeez.
When did the Pirates last win it?
They haven't won it since the 70s.
They won it later than that.
No, they haven't won it since the 70s. I think 78 or 79 was their last title.
Oh, you're right, 79.
Athletics, because 89.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, like I said, MLB it's a little bit more parity.
Yeah, MLB definitely a little more parity. Yeah. Yeah, because NBA, there's like 11 teams.
11 teams. I mean,
because hockey's different too. Yeah, because it's just
obviously Avalanche twice.
Yeah, twice. You had Stars You had Stars once. Lightning 3 times.
Red Wings.
Canadians. Blackhawks.
Kings. Rangers.
Did we do?
Who said?
I already said Canadians. Devils.
Yeah. Ducks.
Carolina.
Yep.
Okay. No. Who would have known 3? Oh yeah, it was Devils. Penguins. Bruins. Oh, geez. Oh, Capitals.
Oh, yeah, the Capitals, yeah.
Capitals.
Blues a couple years ago.
St. Louis, yep. Yeah, so I'm about like 15, 16.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more parity there.
A little bit more parity.
Once again, Broncos 3 times.
Broncos. Packers twice.
49ers. Chiefs.
49ers.
Twice.
Buccaneers twice.
Dallas a couple of times in the 90s.
Dallas.
Washington once in the 90s.
Giants.
Eagles.
Did you get San Fran?
Yeah, I got San Fran.
Okay, you got San Fran.
The Rams.
Yep.
Ravens.
Ravens twice.
Steelers,
Steelers.
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Um,
Did we do Patriots?
no, we didn't do Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yep. Raiders.
No.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. No.
They lost to the Buccaneers that one year.
Yeah, they lost to the Buccaneers. Yeah. Eagles.
I think it said the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Saints.
Saints.
Colts for Peyton.
Colts. That's right.
I think that's it. Yeah,
do we get Giants?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, we did Giants.
So like probably about 15 there too.
Yeah, I'm looking at like 15 as well. So yeah, so about half of the teams.
But yeah, for like baseball, it just feels like less with the 11 teams. Or no, NBA 11 teams have won it in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just basketball is the worst.
I guess so. Any other teams you wanted to mention on the Snakebitten list?
I mean, Patriots against Eli Manning. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I wanted to get that one last jab in.
Hey, we got to before Tom Brady retires and then goes there next season.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Well, we hope. I mean, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's all I have. Yeah.
Well, we hope you guys enjoy your week. Enjoy the Royal Rumble if you watch it. Or enjoy Tom Brady's retirement if it's true. And we'll see you maybe next week.
All right.
Watch along at some point.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our awesome cliffhanger, our cliffhanger review.
Yep, can't wait.
All right, guys. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna do a watch. I think we're gonna do a watch along for that. I think we're.
You want to do a watch along? Let's do a watch along.
Like if it's streaming on Hulu, I could try to like screen share it onto Zoom.
I'm finding out. It looks like it's on. It's on Netflix right now.
Okay, same thing.
It's on Pluto. It's on Pluto TV too. So
if it's on Netflix, we can do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
We will do that, and that'll be coming your way soon.
All right. Thank you. Peace.
All right. Take care.